Trading the foreign exchange market carries high risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Trading on margin, utilizing leverage can carry an even higher level of risk that can lead to a complete loss of investment funds. So before deciding to trade the foreign exchange market or using any of our software alert products, you should carefully and diligently consider your personal investment objectives, level of experience, and risk tolerance. There is a possibility that you could potentially sustain significant loss. You should not invest any capital or trade that you cannot afford to lose. It is your responsibility to be aware of and understand all risks associated with foreign exchange trading and to seek professional advice from an independent certified financial advisor if you have any doubts. Auvoria Prime does not exercise trading authority over your trades. You and you alone exercise discretionary trading authority over every trade.
Today we have some Euro news. The ECB President Lagarde speaks, and so that's a red folder on 10:15, and then 2 o'clock this afternoon some U.S. news from the Fed Chairman speaking. Other than that, it looks like a pretty quiet day, and so we'll go to, let's go to the charts. Actually, the other thing I want to do is pull up my splash screen. That's going to be the next thing I need to do here. Hang on just a second. Let me find it. My correlator screen. Get this up so we can see what's strong and what's not. And I believe you should be seeing it coming up here. And you should see the correlator. You see the correlator? Yeah. Good. Okay. Good. Yeah. Oh, it's not gonna be too hard to get. I think we'll get going. Start here. Just Mondays are always a little tough. All right, now we're showing that the British pound is the strongest currency. The euro is the weaker, and we're looking at the weak U.S. dollar, weak Japanese yen, and strong Canadian dollar, strong British pound. So we'll be looking at those in those strengths, in direction of those strengths. And now we've got to stop sharing again, and we need to, here's our charts. So now you should see the charts.
Yes, we do.
And I need to change the color of this one. I was working on that. Somehow I lost my color screen here. Rectangle properties. Let's try that one. Just see, that'll work for at least for until we get started here. So I pulled up this. I had we had a bounce arrow go on the euro on the 15-minute chart. I think it was on 15 minutes. It was on 30. No, we had it on the 15-minute chart. It bounced, but then we got it again on the 30-minute chart. So we're going to be able to use that. Here's a bounce. There's the arrow. Here's a go up. Here's the upper zone. I'm going to use this whole range right here for my sideways range. I drew this off a 30-minute chart from the red zone to the green zone. Try and find the extensions on it. There's my top 25%. And I'll put in my bottom 25%. These are the key areas where I look for it to pretty much trade back and forth in between these areas until it breaks out of these zones. Being on a higher time frame zone, we should be able to try and find some trending going up into the zone, trending going back down into it, and we just play that until it breaks out of this range. Here's my middle thirds. And right now you can see it broke out of the top third as a pullback. So right now I'm going to be looking at this pullback as maybe possibly to get up to this target. Right now all of my moving averages are in the correct direction. I have this is my 62 moving average. My green's across that. It's crossed over these. So we have the green, the yellow. The yellow is trying to cross over the 62 on this pullback, which is going to be a good thing. But we're above the arrow moving average. So we still kind of trade in that direction at the very least. So I'm going to look at, I'm going to go to a lower time frame. And you can see that we are pretty much sideways right now on this 5-minute chart. This thing isn't ranging that much, I don't believe. Let's see, it's been in a 10 pip range for about the last, let's see how many bars is that. We're on a 5-minute, last 27, 30 bars. So about the last hour and a half has been trading in a 10-minute range. So if you got into this trade, you're going to be sitting around waiting for a while for this thing to break. And when it does break, it looks like it could possibly have still a little more of a pullback. I'm not going to touch this thing. We have a green zone right here. We have red zone. It wasn't an uptrend. I'm just going to stay away from it until it gets a little bit more conclusive right now. Right now it's coming back into this middle third area, and we really don't know which way it's going to go. So we're just going to put a hold on this one. I'll stand to the 1 minute chart and see we do have a bounce arrow go off the 1 minute, but we're going right into a green zone. So I think this thing has some consolidation to do. Monday morning, a lot of times you're going to see a lot of trades that they look like they're going to set up, but they really go nowhere because all it's doing is they're getting them. The big boys are getting their positions for the week, and you just don't quite know what they're going to do. So we're just going to hold off on that one. Anybody have anything particular they want to take a look at while we're waiting here?
No requests yet, but why don't we just have a look at gold before they ask us?
Oh, okay.
You know they will.
We know they will. Gold 15-minute chart. Let's see what's gold doing here today. Right now we have a 15-minute chart. Looks like it's starting to rebound a little bit. It's above our arrow moving average, so that's a good thing. So we'd be looking at maybe taking this to the upside. The dollar is weak, so oftentimes when the dollar is weak, gold gets to be a little bit stronger because that's our flight to safety. Let's see, where's our, let's see, what am I looking for? I'm looking for the moving averages. Here we go. Template, load. And right now, you can see gold's coming right up into the 200 moving average. We do have the green, yellow. It's all in the right direction, except the fact it's coming right up into this. This is going to be a bounce point, this 200 moving average. So let's draw the charts out with this thing. And right now I'm on a 15-minute chart, looking at a range from this red zone to this green zone. And we will draw our fib line here to here. Find our, and right now you can see it's in the middle, it's just bordering right here on the top of the this middle third area. Here's the first one. Second one. Third area, that's right where it is right now. Let's show our upper range. I'm going to take it from the Sunday's overnight open to, say, right to there. These blue colors don't look too bad for today right now.
No.
So here's our range, and so we're looking at right now we're looking at the same. All the moving averages are in the right order to go to the upside. Even to this point right here, we have looks like we have about $4 move till we get to our upper 25%. That's actually not real bad, but it's not something I'm going to take. And we're going to scoot out here a little bit and see what the lower time frames are telling us. Right now, the lower time frame says we're above the 200 moving average on the 1 minute chart. I would expect, you can see we have a little bit of this sort of, it's respecting this 200 moving average on the 1 minute. It's making lower highs. We have a little bit of a wedge going here. Here's our bottom trend line. Here's the anchor. Here's a hit. Here's a hit. Here's our top trend line from this red zone. We're going to take it all right about to here. Let's see if I can pull it out a little bit from that upper area. Let's take it from this upper. There's a top. This is a top pivot. Here's a near hit. Here's a hit. Had a bounce. Came back up. Tested it. Still could not. So right now it's trading inside the range of this this wedge, and the range on this one is about $1 move. So again, not enough range to take anything that I would want to take. So we'll just keep that in mind, and we'll go on to the next one. So right now it's range bound, trading inside. Looks like we'll call it the 1784 to 1783 area. So it's only got $1 range. We want more than that for a range to be able to get enough to get your spread out and everything else. So we'll hold on to that and just see what develops later on. Anything else?
Well, how about we have a look at the S&P? It kind of did a wild thing at the end of the week.
Oh, yeah. But S&P was giving me some angst last week too. So,
Yeah.
So and actually I'm in this one. I'm in this one I'm doing a little bit of a testing with some hedging techniques. And right now, I've got this thing where I took a trade all the way up here at the top. This was last week. When it came back down, I took another buy. I took it buy, which is going to have been at a much worse place than for the week. Pulled back, I took another buy, and it was hanging right around this middle. And I got I took a sell, closed it out, took a buy, closed it out, took a sell, closed it out. And they're just going back and forth. I'm not closing this out. I'm not going to take the loss on this yet. I'm waiting for the pullback and get another chance to maybe take another buy position to get this one released to get that back to break even. If it comes up, if this thing starts going short today, I'm going to take another sell position. That means I'm going to have two positions where I have a position here and here, which are both buy positions. If it comes up and looks like it's going to retest the weekend low, which right at the end of the market last week, it took a nice big nosedive, which is what this little move right here. That was, let's see, what time frame are we on here? 15-minute. You're right at the close of the market on Friday. It took a nice little hit, went lower over the weekend or Sunday morning, but now it's starting to make its way back. So right now, if this thing comes back up into this area, I'm going to close out this buy and just get rid of that. I only have one left. And so far, I've had enough opposite position trades that even if I take a small hit on this one, I'm still going to be profitable because I ended up a week rather profitable last week. So I can release that still with profitability overall on the trade. Then I have this one to worry about. So right now, if we're looking, as I look at this for the range, we're looking at, here's where this is where the high was for the whole week. This is where I got in, looking at it was coming at base, looking at it to go up, never did, and just took a drop. I'm in a small enough position where it's not really going to hurt my account any, but it's still something I don't want to take the hit on it right now because I still expect that this thing's going to go back up and retest it. So I'm going to go to the higher time frame, see where my range is. And so really, this is the range I'm looking at. You can see that my entry is all the way up here above it. But if I can get this one back to break even and I can catch this move, then if I can catch another buy down here, that's going to dollar cost average to where my break evens can be right in the middle of those three lines that will draw. And that's pretty much the target when you get into a position where you're kind of gotten yourself into a little bit of a hole, is to take it and to where if you don't have your stop and you just say, well, I think it's going to turn around and find out you're wrong. This is the technique to use. So I'm going to come up here. Here's my range. And I'm going to put my middle thirds in. And you can see that by the time, if I can get another buy down here, but right now this thing's going up. So my break even, I can be breaking even on this. I'll close that one out and just get that one off the charts. As early enough in the week, I should be able to recover this throughout the week. So I'm going to go and draw my lines. And here's my 61. I said, and you can't do a hedge unless you're with an international broker. There's nothing to do with the individual brokers in the U.S. or the fact that the SEC doesn't allow them to do that. So you'd have to have a broker like, anybody that's any broker that, if you're a U.S. citizen, there's only a few companies out there, brokers out there that you can still be able to have an account and be able to trade with hedges. And that's another reason to make sure that when you open up an account that you have that capability, because it does make a big difference. It's one of those things that our government just doesn't allow us to do, and it's just the way it is. some brokers that operate in the U.S. will allow, if you live outside the U.S., they will allow you, like Auvoria, for example. If you live in Canada, I believe you could, even correct me if I'm wrong, if you live in Canada, you can hedge with Auvoria. If you
Yeah.
live in the if you live in the U.S., you can't do it, even though they're available to U.S. brokers or U.S. Citizens. So this is my range. Now, if I look and see where I got into this trade, this is where I got in, and I see where the price is right now to this area. So right now that's at 41.75 to say 42.50 to 41.75, just rounded off. So that's about a $75 move on the S&P. Divide that by half, so say 75. So say about 30, say about 40 pips. So if it goes about $40 move from 76, say about 42.16. So at 42.16, we should be right about here at the 25% area. If I can take a trade here, by the time it gets up to the blue zone, this one would be break even. This one would already be cleared out. So right now, it looks like we have a little bit of a bounce arrow, go to the upside. I'm on a 30-minute chart, and there's plenty of room to the upside. So what I'm going to be looking at doing is I'm going to put my moving averages on, which I did not do. Load. I'll have to redraw my range again. Here's my range. Draw my fibs. Here's the upper part. I'll just draw it right from over here from the top of this little wick down there to the bottom of the wick. This is the range we're playing in today. Yes, I don't like getting caught like this, but we're kind of working on areas because it does happen. People will, and I do it myself sometimes, still get caught where I couldn't be in the worst place, but rather than take the loss, if I have enough room in my account, then I'll put the hedge on, and you can just start working those little. That's why the smaller time frames work really well, because you can catch those little moves in opposite directions to help chip away at the drawdown that you have. So there's my middle third. And so we may work on that a little bit more as time goes on when the occasion arises to be able to learn how to do that. Oops, I got this in the wrong spot here. So it comes down to this one.
Yeah, I'm not real happy with the S&P right now.
With the S&P?
Yeah.
It's been all over the place right now. So I mean, if it's all over the place, it's the odds of getting out of a bad trade are pretty good if you can withstand the heat in the oven. It's really pretty much range bound right now. But right now, this is the range it's in. We have a nice little up move. We're getting some crossover. We have to cross over the green, yellow. It's above our arrow moving average. This would be a target. So right now, I'm going to just let this thing go. I'm going to take a look on a lower time frame. Let's see what we have here. We do have this little red zone right now. We did say that the U.S. dollar was weak. So if the dollar is weak, the S&P should go to the upside. And we can sort of use that as a little bit of a gauge. And so here's the strong move up. It's up in the upper third. Now the question is it going to break out of this area and go up higher? If it does, I'm just going to close out of this buy position, get that to a break even. And we're going to go to a 5-minute chart, see what we have. We have some crossover right now. We have a nice little pullback, but it's still kind of in an upward trend. Still have some consolidation here. I still like this move up. Let's go back to our 15-minute chart here, and I'm going to take a look at this move. It came out of our lower zone, came up into it, and it never really pulled back. It came up out, came back in. So I like this little move right here and this pullback. So I'm going to draw the fibs off this to here. And we had the pullback of the to the 38 area. So we can mark that. Let me get rid of these upper ranges here. Delete that one. Okay, yeah, we got that. Okay. So here's this is the big push up. This is like just look at this as being like a one candle with retracement to a 38% retracement. This is a nice little retracement for it to go on up to retest. It pulled back to the 38. So we're looking at this area as a target area, which is right about where my target for my buy is. So I'm just going to let this buy go and see where this thing settles in. If it comes anywhere close to get me out of this one, I'll just close it out with maybe a small loss or a small profit. I'm going to have here's the pullback of this upward move. Here's the 38 to 50% range that I like to look at. Actually, here's 50. That was a pullback. There's the tag. And so now we can be looking at if the momentum is still good. The problem we have this little red zone here. But if we can get through this red zone and this moving average, then we've got a pretty nice clear shot on up to the upper 25% zone. I'll be on Monday morning and we may get it, it may not. I'm not going to take any more positions right now until I get a little bit more clearer direction about what this thing's going to do. But this will be the pullback. If we can get through this red zone, the target zone is going to be right up in this area for the target. And that'll be right about in this, pretty much where my take profit line is. I'm going to just encompass this to the 38 to 60%, which is the new zone that this thing is now trading in. But again, we have to get through this area. We go to a lower time frame chart and see what we have with the lower time frames. Let's go to the let me slide these over so we can see it on the lower chart. There's that one. So these are the two. This is really the range that we're looking at right now. If this thing can break, but it's got to be able to break through this area. And we have this red zone's on all, looks like it's going to be on all the time frames. We've got a lot of heat coming on up into the top of this. But right now we have this could be a bank induction move bank. Here's the arrow. So in a 1 minute, doesn't carry a lot of weight. And I said we have these two zones, and here's the top third of, look at our orange zones. This is the top third. So if I can get a 5 minute close up in here with a pullback and another head on up, then this would be my next target, which is right where my zone is. If I can catch another buy, I can catch it right up in here at dollar cost average. This one, close both of those positions out profitable. And I may be trying to work on that a little bit here. You see, I'm still in a little bit of a drawdown. Not too concerned about it. Right now, all the moving averages are correct. We had the pullback, which is right to this blue zone. This was the pullback. And now it's looking to, we have everything's in the right direction to go up higher. And let's see where the strength of our zones are here. Dollar is still weak, on all 4 time frames. So it does help us with the S&P going to the upside. Any questions? I would like to see a 5 minute close above this orange this orange line right here. Look at my 5 minute chart. Expand it out a little bit if I can. We did get a 5 minute close and then sort of rejected it. And right now we have a nice little trend line coming on the top here. So it is making a little bit lower highs. And here's a nice little push up. Here's the break. Here's a move up. Here's a pullback. Another move up. The retest. This is the retest zone. Retesting this trend line. We don't have the, this would be the first hit from this low to this pullback. That's pretty much the first, this is the first hit. Second hit right now is trading inside this range between these two orange trend lines. If we can get a break on the upside, that's going to be a good thing. If not, we're just going to keep our powder dry and wait and see what happens with this. We'll probably know a little bit better as we get closer to the 9 o'clock hour when the markets start to open up. But right now, there's no, I'm just going to wait and just keep things neutral here right now. That's the S&P.
So does anybody have any trades that they're stuck in that they would like to have that pair analyzed? Put it in the Q&A, please, and we'll have a look at it while things are moving slowly here.
I said I'm not real anxious to take trades on Monday mornings or Friday afternoons. I hate giving away profits on Fridays, and Monday I hate starting off in the hole on a Monday. So here's a question. Let's see.
No. Daniela says no. Not at the moment.
Let's see. There's another question. I don't want to put the question box up because then you just get a big blank screen.
No, I'm monitoring it. Don't worry about it, Aldous.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, about Eva.
That's why I'm here, so don't worry about it.
Let's see. Now the Euro US has started to break out a little bit. We have a nice strong move up, pull back, but again, it's coming right up into this zone. There's 10 pips there. That's marginal on the 515. That's not too bad. Coming up to retest the upper 25. The euro is weak, which means that the euro was strong, I believe. The euro, I think, was, no, I need to take that back. What was it? The euro is weak. Yeah, the euro and the US are still both kind of weak, trying to jockey for position, see which one's going to prevail. So again, not in a hurry to take that trade. Plus you have this 200 moving average coming down. I'd rather see the price be above this line, and these are their two momentum lines or trend lines, the blue one and the purple one. The purple one's a 200, the blue one's the arrow moving average. If it's above the arrow moving average, I prefer to be taking it long if everything else is in agreement. And right now, we are seeing a little bit of a pullback on the 5 and the 13 moving average. It's kind of consolidating. We don't have the cross of the on the 15, but we do have the cross, and it did cross on the 5, cross the yellow, say, oh, it wants to go down, but now it's crossing back up again. But we have this little zone right up in here. If we can clear through that zone, it's clearing through these 3 middle ranges, and then we're coming on up to this, our upper 25%. That's only 11 pips. Again, it's not enough for him to take the trade. You know, if you take it really, you could maybe get a couple pips out of it, but it's just not worth the risk. So again, staying away from that one.
Oh, we do have a request to look at the German 30.
German 30. You know, I have a question for the German 30. Is anybody trading LCMFX with the German 30 live? If anybody does, and if so, are you getting a feed on it?
Getting a feed on it?
Yeah. The reason why I asked the question is that I'm using the German 30 on my variable account, and it's not showing that it's trading. And I was like, here's this thing's paused. Every time I click on the pause doesn't go away. If I do it on a demo, German 30 on a demo variable, it goes away and it works. But it's not doing it on my live account, and I don't know. I just thought that just happened last night. So I'm a little bit curious if it's just me or if it's something going on with the broker. I may have to give them the.
I've got a live LCMFX going. Let me see if I can bring up.
Yeah, see if you can bring up the German 30 and get a feed on it if you would.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're looking at German 30. I don't think there's a problem on envy.
Actually, right now on LCMFX, I am unable to bring up even currency pairs on my live account. Well, I mean, I have some already that I'm looking at, but for me to add new ones, it's not giving me that opportunity to do.
I may have to put in a help ticket on that today to find out what's going on with it.
Yeah.
Because I've got some live trades on the German 30 with variable, and I don't want to be caught in them. Let's see, what kind of range do we have here?
Yeah, there's no indexes. There's no tab even for indexes to. Okay, so there's my currencies, but there's no indexes available right now.
Actually, that sounds like room for a help ticket on that.
Mm-hmm.
See what's going on.
It's looking kind of weird on their account right now. Even just to bring a chart up, it's unavailable.
And the other things are working on it, but not that one for some reason.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me get my moving averages. Okay, we're looking at the German 30. Get the moving averages up before you get too far into here. Moving averages, we're getting some consolidations bouncing right off of the 200 moving average. We do have the green above the yellow, but everything's above the arrow moving average. So everything's in the right direction to go to the upside. I do like that.
But what about 200? Is that not a hindrance there?
Well, right now it's still part of the consolidation process. I mean, if I go to a lower chart, it's probably going to be a zone right there. Let me see. No, nothing there, nothing. Well, it's kind of a 1 minute zone, but that doesn't mean much. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back to the 15-minute, draw some trend lines. Let's see, I'm going to scoot this in a little bit. I'm going to use this range right here. I'll get this high right here from this red zone down to the pivot low into the green zone. The gold sell in 1 minute. Like that. Okay, so here's my middle three. Going to put those on. There's three. Here's the upper third. And so we have strong move up, pull back, came up. It couldn't close above the 61% on the 15. Let's see if it did it on the 5. Couldn't do it on the 5-minute chart. Like I said, I like seeing a 5-minute close. This is pretty close. Let me just tweak that just a little bit. It did close a little bit on the 5 with a pullback, but it is at the third. It is our third range, our third level there. Strong move up, pullback, not a very big pullback. And my Fibonacci's off of here. And so I mark the zones, delete that, get those lines out of the way. And now we're going to look at a fresh, here's a strong move up. I'm going to take it from here. Here's the bounce, came back in, gave us our little wedge down below. Here's our first move, second, first pullback, third, wave 4. This is coming up right up to a wave 5 on this right now. And wouldn't be real excited about taking it at the wave 5. I'd wait for a little more of a pullback, get that A, B, C pullback to come back and retest it and see if this one can hold. Now, if this does break up higher, then we're just going to move this moving average, this trend line, this Fibonacci on up and wait for a little bit stronger pullback. Now, this was only a 23% pullback. It did close out. This does have some room to the upside, German 30. I like it to the upside, actually. If we look at the extension, the target then would be, let's see if I can tweak this a little bit. Move that over so we can see what we're doing. And so this is the higher time frame, upper 25% zone. And that's right up here where the 200 moving average is. So there is some room to that. It's about $55 move. We're looking at pretty much 10. That's on a 1 hour chart. Let's see what looks on the lower time frame. Trying to find out where the extension is. It pulled back to the 23. So right now, this would be the zone I would be looking in. For a target. So it'll be this area right in here. And then I'd move this thing down a little bit because it's at the 23%. Pretty much right at the bottom of this blue zone would be at the target. And we really did not. Here's another arrow. That'll be the second arrow. Here's a bounce arrow. Pull back, retested it. Strong move up, got the second arrow. But we're getting pretty close to there. And again, I'm just not in a hurry to take anything this morning. Although it does have the makings of a nice little trade there. But you have this little red zone. If it can get past this red zone up here, you might have enough of a shot for get past this with a nice move up. That will give us a $56 move. Yeah, there would be room to the upside. I want to see it get through this little red zone first, though. So we can keep an eye on this one, see if it breaks through that. Next pair.
No requests yet?
No requests?
No. We might as well look at the NASDAQ then. We'll do them all.
NASDAQ, 15 minutes. Moving averages. Let's see, template load. So I like to start with my 15-minute chart and find the range. I like this range here. This looks like it's got plenty of room. That's got a $178 move, so that's lots of range on that. Moving averages are consolidating right now, so nothing to, you got to wait for that to get cleared out of there. Did have a nice move up, arrow. Here's a nice arrow. We had the bounce, arrow, pullback. This could be our A, B, C, and could come back to retest this lower trend line. So let's see where let's get this in here a little bit. I'm going to take it from this this pivot high down to this pivot low. Let's tweak a little bit. Make sure we can catch the ultimate low here. Mark our mid zones. So just do the same thing over and over again every time. Strong move up. And we never really got it. This is the first move out of this lower 25. So I'm waiting for it to kind of come back into the lower 25 to give me a nice little trend. I don't want to see it break this green zone, but we have a pullback. Mark my zones. When you get the strong move out of this lower 25 or the upper 25, when you get the move out, that tells you that there's a little bit of, that's where the buyers are coming in this case. and then they look. That's where oftentimes the institutions come in with the position. They come back in, try and get another position, and they run it off. So this will be our wave one, a wave two to come back into the zone, retest this trend line from this little pullback. Here's the anchor. Here's our first hit, taken on out. And this trend line is still well within, there's still room for this thing to come back into the zone to bounce off of the trend line. If it goes deeper, it could, but this low should hold on a pullback. If it does, if you can get in on the pullback, you have a very tight stop down here. If it goes below this green zone, you're out of the trade, but you have this as your upper target. And if you look at the fib, it came out, pulled back in. So right now it's basing. There's a lot of price action inside these orange lines. You can see here's came in, pulled back out, came back in, pulled back out, came back in, pulled back out. A little bit deeper, came back in. And now the question is it going to pull back up and retest this, or is it going to head on up to the blue zone or to the red zone? You don't know for sure, but that's where you need to be patient and get the clear signal that right now I do like this as a nice move up with a pullback, but I'd like to see it pull back into this zone before, or at least break through the bottom. If it breaks through the bottom, it's probably going to retest and then maybe take the run on to the upside. But this is my upper 25. This one right in here. And right now you can see it's in the middle of everything. So no real clear direction on that. So we wait. This is what I'm looking for. We had here's a nice little rally, little base rally. And this little area right here is going to be a retest area. You see the moving averages are starting to cross down. We have the cross of the green over the yellow. And now we're going to see if it's going to come down and retest for a bounce to head on up. So I'm looking for this thing to bounce off this trend line and then head on up to here, pull back, here, pull back, and then come up and retest, ultimately retest the upper 25. Okay, that's what we're looking at with that one.
Can we have a look at the Euro GBP?
Euro GBP. Euro GBP, 15 minutes, start with that. Here we go. You can see we have a nice bounce arrow retest. So we have a nice little trend going there. And the moving averages. Higher time frame, we're all in the right direction. We're below the 200 moving average. We're below the arrow moving average. Nice little trending on down. There's wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got a little bit of a bounce there. And we'll see what our range is. So we're going to go with the Euro GBP. Let's see what kind of range we have here between the green and the red zone. 48 pips, that's close enough. I like 50, 48 is close enough for, so I would be taking, let's go to a higher time frame. We're going to use this pivot high, this pivot low. I'll take it right about to there, get it up to the high. Made a new high up here, a little bit of higher high. So right there, kind of a little bit of a head fake. This zone has some value to it. Here's our upper third. There's our playground. Lower third, okay. And so what we have is we have a nice little whip it down. No break on that. Go to a 5-minute chart and see what it looks like on the 5-minute. You see a nice little break. They have a little crossover coming down. This could be to the extension. Again, let things stabilize on the Monday mornings. But here we have a nice little trend coming down. Here's an anchor. Here's a hit. Here's a little bit steeper angle. Here's the hit. Here's the trend. We're starting to build a little bit of a wedge at the bottom of this range. Here's a nice move down. Came back up. We had the bounce off the green zone. Right now, here's a consolidation in this lower half of this of these orange lines. Okay. Here it consolidated in the upper half, pulled back out, went deeper. Consolidated, pulled back out. Right now it's in here. We'll see if it bounces up and to head on out. But right now everything's still moving in the down direction. S&P buy, okay, it's still there. So right now, until it breaks out of this red and green zone, I would not be interested. If we can get a 5-minute close above the screen, get rid of this green zone with a little bit of pullback, I would be looking for something of this nature where we have a move up, 5-minute close, pull back to the orange line or the trend line, depending on see where this thing breaks. Preferably the trend line, and then looking at it to go to the upside to the target one and then on up higher. Euro British, let's see where we are with the heat map on the Euro British. I want that one. And here's the Euro is weak. The British is kind of right, well, on the lower time frame. British is stronger than the Euro. So you want to be trading this in favor of the side of the British pound, to the strength of the British pound. So the British pound is the second currency of the pair. So the strength would be to the downside, which is what it's doing right now as it's coming out of the bottom. It could come up and retest our zone. We have this green zone here. I wouldn't want to take it long right now because of the strength of the British. And over here, you only have a 4 pip till you get to the next green zone. So there again, it's too tight to take the trade, and we pass on it. And we'll see if we get a little bit of a bounce off of this. It may give us a little higher low. Here's a low. Let's see if it gives up a higher low. See if this other trend will break here with this. Right now, if it comes all the way down, that'd be flat. And if it can break and close above the screen zone, if the screen zone can hold. If not, it's coming into the blue area, and then we have to wait for it to do what it does in the blue area and then come back out again. It's getting near the extreme right now. And the overnight move wasn't, let's see, from here to here, the last several hours. That's only a 13 pip move over the last 22. Oh, I mean, at 22 minutes. That's not overly exciting. From here to here. Over the last 45 minutes, it hasn't ranged more than 13 pips in the last 45 minutes. So again, that's not a big, what I call a big move. So again, we wait. Next pair.
Well, it's dealer's choice now.
Let's see here. Let's take a look at the heat map again, see what's hot and what's not. Canadian dollar is strong. Canadian CAD yen. Let's try to take a look at the CAD yen, see if there's anything to that. The CAD is strong to, oops, I don't want to do that. The CAD is strong to the yen and the euro. So Canadian dollar is strong. We can take a look at some Canadian dollar pairs. Let's go CAD Euro, CAD Yen. Let's take a look at that.
The Euro US, the
Euro US is waking up.
well, it seems to be. It's got a lot of space in between the two zones.
Yeah, it's kind of stuck in this upper 20. It's upper these two orange lines. It's kind of stuck in that. If it breaks, it's got this again. Yeah, I don't like that one. Let's see. Go to CAD. CAD yen. Let's take a look at that. I'm not real big on the yen pairs, but we'll take a look at it. We have nice little range coming in here. It's right in the middle. We've got moving, it's above the arrow moving average. I like it to the CAD strong to the yen, so I like it to the upside. And we have a bounce arrow go. We have, looks like 71 pips. That's pretty good on that one. See what the moving averages are doing. Moving average are coming up, but we've got this pesky little 200 moving average sitting right here where we could probably get a little bit of a bounce. That's 15 pips away. Everything's in the right direction to go up. Let's see where we are in our range, in the range of scheme from here, red zone to green zone. And we're coming up into the upper 25% just before this moving average. Upper 25. Lower 25. It's already broken out of the middle zone. So I like taking it, my first targets, I like taking my targets coming into the zone, and if it breaks out to come into the next one. This one's breaking out, but there's just, the range isn't right there. I don't like the range on that one. Let's do a 1 minute chart and see what it looks like on a 1 minute. No zones in the way. We have bounce arrow. Another bounce. I don't have an arrow on that one. How about 5 minute? Still waiting on an arrow. It's something's not happy with it. And again, it's coming up into the blue zone. Now we had the CAD Euro was the other one we were looking at. I'm going to look at CAD Euro. I like the Euro pairs, but I'm not a big fan of the yen pairs. Let me see, I might not even CAD.
There it is.
Euro CAD. Here we go. Euro CAD. Here we go. 15 minute. So the CAD's the second currency of the pair. So we're going to be looking at the strength to the downside. We have this zone. Here's our range right in here. Moving averages. Pivot high to pivot low, or pivot low to pivot high. Find our upper range. Right now it's in the middle of where everything consolidates. And so we have moving averages getting the bounce right off the 200. So it's got to get through that. It's got to get through the screen zone. And by the time it does that, it's already coming down into this blue area with only 11 pips. So again, kind of range bound there. Let's find this little spot right here in the middle between these orange lines. You can see where it came back out, came in, came back out, came back in, out, came back in, out, coming back in again. Now it may come on down lower, but you have this upper trend coming in. So until we get all four of these in the right direction, I'd just be holding off and not getting too excited about it. Again, now all these are coming in the right direction. That you do have room to the upside. Actually, it's bouncing, it's coming, giving the strength to the upside. But I just don't think there's enough room to take the trade till you get to your target. Have a nice little wick right here. And that's showing that there's the sellers are starting to come in a little bit in this area. Let's see, anything else we were looking at? NASDAQ, what's that one doing? Still waiting for it to come down and retest this area. German 30. We were looking at this to go long up there, but right now it's kind of stuck in between that range. S&P, let's take a look. What's that doing? S&P is still trying to come back up again. So let's get through this. Right now, it's kind of stuck between this red and this little area right in here. It's kind of stuck. No real volume. You may get a little more volume once the U.S. markets open up. Gold, let's see, how's our gold doing?
I like the moving averages there.
Let's see, the moving average is in the right direction. We have this little zone down below. Let's see, how's our dollar doing here right now? Dollar is weak, strong, middle, weak. So in the, it looks like the dollar is starting to get a little bit stronger on the lower time frames. So we may want to be paying attention to that as we go on. It's been weak, getting stronger.
Danielle's asking if on the Euro CAD, if that's a bearish engulfing candle.
Euro CAD, on what time frame, Danielle? This is a bearish engulfing candle against. Well, I'd say I think that is. Looks like it's going to be. It's a red candle. It basically have extended. Here's the prior candle, and it looks like it's a red candle that totally engulfed this whole candle right here. So it does have room to that does showing pressure to the downside where it was it was down. Here's like a little drop, a little base, and it could possibly drop again. When you get that, basically, but it's coming right into the green zone. This is the problem with that one. If it can break through this orange, then the question is if these zones are really kind of tight right now. That's 19 pips. $19. Let's see, actually that's a $1.90. Let's see which pair. What pair are we looking at here? We're looking at the Euro CAD. Yeah, that'd be pips. We have 16. Actually, that's enough for the target. We got a. Let's see, get on the 5-minute chart here. See where it kind of closed. We get a 5-minute close below here with a pullback. It is closing out of these ranges. We did get the 5-minute close with a pullback. If I get a little wick up here and not close, it may be worth trying to take this thing short. But again, not a big fan of this thing. We'll see if this 5-minute candle can close above this orange. It has been closing, trending, broke it, came back, broke it, came back. Now we'll see if it can come back with this pullback. It may come back down and retest this one. What I didn't want to do that. What did I do? pull that one off. That was a mistake. And so what I'm looking at is I'm trying to have my objects list and get rid of that Fibonacci line so I can draw some new ones. There we go. Now we have the strong move down, pull back. Let's see if this thing can give us a target. I do like all the moving averages in the right direction, pointing back down. This is our strong move down. We did get that engulfing candle that Danielle was talking about. Now we're getting a pullback to the, here's the 23, here's the 38. So right now it's pulling back into the 61 to the 38 zone. This is the zone I'm looking for strong. That's a strong pullback. Now the question is it going to be too strong? Let's see. Let's go to a 1 minute chart. So right now on the 1 minute chart, you only have 6 pips to the green zone if it breaks through this one. If it breaks through this orange level, which is the third level, which is the middle level, it was hanging out between the lower two. Now it's coming up into the upper two. Now, if it comes back down and may come back down and retest this low right here. And we just say that the CAD was a stronger currency, so that kind of fits. But the moving averages right now are in the wrong position to go short. We'll see what happens on the 1 minute chart. We'll see if this green can cross over and then get another pullback. German 30 buy on the 1 minute. S&P buy on the 5. Let's take a look at those. That's buy right up into the zone. S&P buy. And it's coming up into our zone as well. Here's the arrow, but there's no bounce on it. And the arrow's going in the wrong direction from a bounce off of this red zone. And it didn't actually hit the red zone, so it's not even a bank induction move. Okay, that's what we were looking at here. Here's a bounce arrow go. This is on that's on a 1 minute chart. This is where you could get yourself into trouble. We were actually looking at this thing going short, but this thing could very well. The fact this is a pretty strong move out. Normally, if it's going to turn around and come back and retest, it doesn't go quite so deep into the 61 area. Kind of like this one more to the upside, actually. Let's see where the CAD is right now. CAD's still strong. What's my? Oh, here it is. Let's see, the Canadian dollar is still strong. We have this blue zone right now. This is the area where the pullback was. I do favor it to the downside. Did we get a 5 minute close into the green zone? I believe we did. Yes, we did. Kind of favoring this a little bit more to the upside right now. Not sure why, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. And when you get that confident, you just stay out of it. A lot of times you wait till after the U.S. market opens up on a Monday, then you get all the consolidation. All the pre-market moves are happening right now. And once the market opens up, it gives you a little bit clearer direction about which way the market may be going after 9:30. This time on a Monday morning, it's just a lot of position jockeying right now, with not a whole lot of volume.
So what in the world is going on with crypto, do you think?
Well, I think people are just sort of putting it on hold right now. It was real hot. You know, crypto is one of those things where it gets real hot and then it loses favor.
Yeah, but all of them at once? That's kind of weird.
Well, it's the overall sentiment. It's the overall sentiment of it. Just a second here. Let's see. Yeah, the crypto. I mean, right now, if you're looking at on a higher time frame, see where these things are. They've really made us. I mean, they were real hot back early this springtime, earlier this spring. It got real hot, and then you know, when the big banks are Elon Musk's, they start saying that, yeah, we're going to take cryptos, and then say we're not going to take cryptos, and it loses a lot of its popularity, so to speak. I think this is just going to be one of those strong pullbacks. Eventually, it's going to gain some strength again. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I think it's going to be stuck here for a while.
Or they could just be shaking us all down, all of us retail.
Yeah, that's right. They start shaking out.
So that they can get in at cheaper values.
Exactly. I mean, like I said, cryptos are not for the faint of heart. They do have a lot of volatility. I look at it as the cryptos as being a long-term play. I try and buy the pullbacks. I'd be more apt to be, if I had some extra money, I'd maybe buying down in this area, because I don't think it's going to, I don't know how low it's going to go, but you can see where this little pullback, strong move up, strong pullback. This is the area right in here that it's finding this little happy spot. And so this is a rally, come back to retest the base. And so this area right in here is where you're going to start finding a lot of consolidation. This is really the range that it's in right now. It's just retesting this zone. And inside that zone, here's your middle thirds, and here's your retest of your lower 25 right in this area. Go ahead, Eva. I didn't interrupt you. But here's the lower 25. This is the lower 25 I'm not looking at Bitcoin right now. And here's the upper 25. This is pretty much the playground that I'm looking at it right now. A lot of strength, a lot of resistance to the upside. But I think you're going to start seeing a little bit of you could start seeing this being the range. But I think it could be in this range for pretty much, I would not be surprised if it stayed in this range all summer long. Until some other big news happens. But the banks are not, the banks.
Okay, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, it almost feels to me like it's being manipulated, because if every single one of these cryptocurrencies, not just Bitcoin, but every one of them is going down, it's like a manipulation move to me. It can't be possible that everyone's all of a sudden just selling all over the world, everything.
Well, it could be. It could very well be. all I say is who knows. All I know is that we just see what we play, what we have, and I say if you're in cryptos, I say I would be in. If you have to expect these big moves in both directions, and be willing to just hang on to it. And when it's always hard when things are making new highs day after day after day to take your profits. And then when it starts pulling back, you say, oh, it's just a small pullback, but it starts to range. And right now I say this is the range is looking in. So I say down here, I'd be looking at buying. Up here, I'd be looking at maybe taking some profits because I think it's going to be stuck in this range for, I mean, I drew this off of a weekly chart, and this is the range that it is on the, but I say here's a nice rally. 1, 2, 3, there's 4 weeks, a whole month it was rallying. And then once it broke out for the next 2 or 3 months, am I on a weekly? There's a weekly. Yeah, that's weekly. So for the next, so what is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. For almost 3 months, it was just making new highs, and now it's just consolidating. So if you look at it from the higher time frame, this is still the area where it's playing in right now until, and it could break down lower, and there's a good chance it could break down lower to shake everybody out and then come back in. And this is the area where I'd be looking at being a buyer again if it gets shaken out. But I don't think cryptos are going to go away anytime soon. So that's my take on the cryptos. Let's see where we at here. How's our time doing here? We have probably 50 more minutes. How's the S&P hanging out here? As we're in that trade a little bit. A lot of people are anyway. Here's my target for the S&P, still up here. My initial target for today. We'll see how the market opens up. Right now we had a nice little rally, base rally, came back into the zone. Probably like this point here, and we still haven't had the retest of this trend line from that point. This thing could still come on down. We just don't have the strong pullback yet on this from this low, from the over weekend low. This was the overnight. This is the overnight range right here where this blue line is. And then it broke, here's the money zone. And if I put a line on the top of the moving average of these wicks, 15-minute chart, top of the wicks, came here, the money zone. Here's the breakout right here. This was right about 3:30 this morning, and made it high than. Let's see, this was Friday's high. This is Friday's high over here, so it could come up and retest that. I said, don't be in a hurry to lose your money. There's a nice little pivot. This is the origin right here of this move out of the zone. Here's the origin of it. Came back up, strong move up. We're just waiting for a pullback, see where the pullback's going to be. I really don't have it yet. This is a little bit of one right here, but I would take it from this area. We did have a little bit of a, here's a strong move up, came back. Here's a little bit of pullback of the retest of this wedge. So right now this thing could go either way. This is the origin. Peak up. Here's the pivot back down. Retested the upper part of the wedge, and right now we did get a little bit of a break, but again, I said it's still kind of basing And it's coming up to retest this high again. And if you look and see where this little zone is right here off of this, here's a little rally, base rally coming back to retest this area. So I'm just going to pull this trend line underneath where the last candle is along this part right here. And that's where I'm looking at seeing more. So it still needs to break through this little zone right in here. Until then, you do nothing. And that's all I can say about that one. Anything else?
No requests. We haven't really even been getting a lot of arrow alerts either today.
No, I mean, it's the markets in general have been very, very much sideways and very much consolidated. There's not a lot. I mean, the S&P did some really pretty strong moves last week. But for the most part, the markets are in pretty much of a relatively tight range. And I just think a lot of time it's a summertime where a lot of people are just sort of putting things on hold. You'll probably start seeing it picking up a little bit more in late August, early September. You'll probably start seeing a little bit more movement in the markets. But right now, I think for summer, I think this is pretty much what we're going to be living with for the next month or so. And so just take that time to just relax a little bit and
enjoy our summer.
Enjoy your summer and work with techniques. And sometimes it's easier to work on techniques and once you find a range to just work on your reading of the price actions and things like that. But you see, in order to make things profitable without spending what I call all your emotional inventory, when you get in these small tight ranges where it's just going sideways and you don't have the range and you're looking at I'm not sure what the spread is on some of these, but no, the Euro US, oftentimes you'll get a 1.5 spread on it, which is a 1 to 1.5 is pretty normal for that. But you still need at least, I still like to see at least 3. If you want a 10 pip target, you still need to have a range of at least 15 to 20 pips. And if this thing's ranging from here to here, it's been ranging roughly 14 pips over the last 35 bars. So 35 times 5. So we're looking at probably the last couple hours. It's been ranging only a few pips. There's the hourly chart. Let's see if I can. So from here to here, all the way over to where it is right now, over the last 27 hours, it's only ranged 76 pips. Now let's take that in a little bit closer perspective of the overnight session to where the London market opened up. From the London open till now, it's only 46 pips over the last 5 hours, 6 hours. It's not a lot. So just be patient. That's all I can say about that. The markets feel a lot like Monday mornings, like most of us do on Monday mornings. Just kind of slow going. But just accept that and let it go. Let's see, how are we doing? Anything? About 8 more minutes. Any last minute questions, comments, anything about how we do our techniques that we use? Is everything pretty clear about what we do and how we do it? And so we use the arrow alerts to bring us to the charts, and then we use the technical analysis to figure out, if you get a strong bounce arrow go, I said the strategy is if you're on a 15-minute chart with a future, with the Forex, with a Forex pair, the indexes are usually, they look at 5-minute charts on the indexes, but so you're looking at a EuroCAD chart and we're on a 15-minute and we get here we have the bounce arrow go. So from here, this one right here to the green zone, if you have 20 pips, you can take that trade but you're using a 40 pip stop. We try and get our stops a little bit tighter than that. Now, this is actually this was back earlier this morning. This was about 6:15 this morning. We had this bounce in the arrow. And you can see this would have worked out. So the overall method of the basic, if you want to keep things real simple, just look for the 15-minute chart, Forex pairs, a bounce with the arrow, but it's got to bounce off of the zone. It can't bounce off of somewhere else in between. It bounces off the zone with an arrow, and then with that arrow, you have a target to your next green zone. If you have 20 pips, you can take the trade. If you have less than that, you don't take the trade. And you can expect a pullback. There was a little bit of a pullback. The pullback here came on a about eight pip pullback. But if you're looking at the zone, if you're looking at a Fibonacci from where it left this upper 25% zone, pullback, strong move down, got the arrow, there's nothing wrong with taking this thing and using this for it left the zone, which is the first criteria. You got an arrow, which would be that would be a good indication that it was a significant departure of that area. You get the 23 to 50% pullback. And usually, if it pulls back, then it would be, especially with an arrow, if it gets within the 23 to, wrong one. If it pulls back to the 20, here's the 23%. Here's the move down. Got the arrow, bring it to the base of the arrow, pulls back 23 to 50. If it pulls back into that area, take the trade. Because oftentimes you're going to get a little bit of a pullback once you get those arrow alerts. And then you can use your target, and then you can actually use this as your stop area. So you could probably have a little bit of a tighter stop. You could use the zone. That's 38 pips, so that's 38 pips, so that's a 40 pip. That would be your 40 pip stop. And then your target would be here with the 20 pip target to the green zone. And oftentimes, 40 pips doesn't even come close to that. So we usually try to tweak a little bit tighter than that. And then you had the secondary arrow, you had the moving averages. Here's the next pullback. This is probably much where we pretty much started watching it. Here's the move down, pulled back to the 38, and then you still have room to target. But at this point, I'd be looking at the target and make sure I had 15 pips before I enter the trade, because I'm still looking at that target. I want to make sure it pulls back enough. In this case, it did 25 pips on the pullback from my target area, but the pullback was only 11 pip pullback. I usually like having a 15 pip stop, so I would have been probably could have taken a little bit of heat but I would have waited till it came back into this area. This 38 got the wick up, closed out, then I'd be looking at my stop. Could be 15 pips above that, which brings me all the way up to the red zone. We're still open enough room to keep out of harm's way with the direction coming down to the target. And it looks like this thing's going to make that happen. But I wouldn't want to get in now because we're only looking at 6 pips. And the Canadian dollar was strong to the euro, so that does give us rise to this one's probably is going to work out the way it looks out. It's also in the bottom third here. We get a 5-minute close into the green zone. Looks like we're getting it right about now. We didn't have let's see. I can see this here. On a 5-minute chart, this was a green candle. Barely got a red close on this little candle right in here off this. And it was consolidating for about another 30 minutes before it started to break. This is a very long basing time. So there's not a lot of activity in the market. Looks like it's going to work out, but I didn't want to take the trade. And so with that, I think we're just about out of time here. So any last minute questions? We're going to call it a day. We'll try back again tomorrow, see if we have a little bit better price action, and we'll see everybody tomorrow. Thanks for coming in. We love having everybody here. We appreciate all your attendance. I appreciate the questions. And the more questions we have, the more we can help everybody else out to become successful traders. So with that, take care, have a great day, and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.